the physical body be? A blob or something like that. Okay. Just between the Bhuvar-loka and the Bur-loka, earth and the desire principle is the realm of the entangled mind. It's in Sanskrit. The entanglements between physicality and the passions, and that ends up with the entangled mind, So if you can't get above those three lokas, you're sort of trapped in what is called the wheel of rebirth until you can get out of it. This is in Sanskrit, but I have a punchline that brings them all together. Above these three lokas is the Svar-loka, the world of pure light, pure unentangled thought and feeling and becoming within a pure psychic state or plane. Is that sinking in? Matter is entangled with passions and desires or vice versa, so you have entangled things as long as you're focused in that. And the Svar-loka is you lift up out of that and you're in the... I'll read it again. You should jump for joy, actually. The world of light, pure unentangled thought and feeling. Have any of you ever gone or experienced that state, condition? Come on, raise your hands. How many haven't experienced it? Well, now, there are half the people here not raising their hands at all.
How does one know within oneself if one is there?
This is not the question period. This is one of my great mentors, but he has to be controlled once in a while. Okay, there are several lokas. The Hindu mystics argue about whether there's 7 or 17. We don't need to go into that. But because I just picked out the ones that we might have a chance of recognizing. Let's see. Okay, I read that one. And I read Svar-loka. That's the intuitional plane. Akasha. Quintessence. In these different languages. There's the Mahar-loka. The world, it's described very simply as the realm of vast. V-A-S-T. We would say in English, the realm of infinity, or something like that. And that's about all it says about it. Because obviously, the writers of these things here said if you're trapped in the first three lokas, entangled in things, you probably will never see the vast. We would say vastness, but they use the noun rather than the other word. So, now we would think of these as different levels, right? Down here, down here, down here, down here. But the clincher is that the Sanskrit discusses these as all interpenetrating. So we are within matter and within all of the other realms, but we don't know where we are exactly. We know we're in matter. Does anybody here not think they're in matter? I've met a couple, actually. Interpenetrating. The Sanskrit discusses what we call consciousness, but it discusses it in slightly different terms. All of these lokas are interpenetrating each other. They're with us now, just like other dimensions interpenetrating our dimensions here. And they are also interpenetrating our consciousness. And our consciousness is a big thing of interpenetrating of these different lokas, which means that they are available to us if we can figure out how to get out of the entanglements or something like that and tap into them. So when you have a spontaneous experience of another dimension, is that explainable by science? Did you experience it in spite of that? How many here have experienced another dimension? Oh, see? Is remote viewing indicative of another dimension that transcends physical matter, energy, space, and time? Good. Have I bored you? No. This is Dr. What is your name? This is Dr. Stanislaus Ojak. He's a psychologist, right? Yes, he is. He's 92, and he's famous in backdoor experimental circles by taking pictures with the lens cap on and getting images on them. Take a bow. Stand up, take a bow. Can you all do that? Now, you see, the disappearance of the matter-only theory has got to have great repercussions in starting now in the future, you know. I mean, they're scratching their head about all these different energies, dark matters, subtle energies, which Dr. Tiller is going to talk to you about tomorrow morning. And so things can't stay the same. You imagine what's going to have to be dumped that was hooked into the matter-only theory, matter-only reality theory. Can you think of what's going to be dumped?
Just an attitude.
Just what?
An attitude.
Oh. I'll let you tell them that tomorrow morning.
Right.
Have I made my point about interpenetrating stuff that has most recently been discovered by modern scientists, but which seems to have been known in a very potent language? Have any of you here studied Sanskrit a little bit? What kind of language is it? Do you find it?
Well, in what sense do
Is it gorgeous, complex?
It's extremely complex.
Yes, it's extremely complex. It's
There's a lot of different terms describing pretty much the same thing, but with gradations and variations.
Yes.
Very detailed.
You wonder how they ever learned it.
Language from light.
A language from light?
The direct language of light.
Ah, yes.
It's a language of consciousness.
Thank you. It's based in experiential consciousness, whereas English and all these other things are based in what you were taught, not what you've experienced. Did you know there are two types of gurus? Well, yes or no? No. Sit there like rocks. I lean very heavily on The Language of the Gods by Judith M. Tyberg. The second edition, published in 1976, called The Language of the Gods, Sanskrit Keys to India's Wisdom. And also on Arthur and Anthony MacDowell's A Practical Sanskrit Dictionary, published in 2001. And also on the Hindu guys that ran my local magazine and newspaper and cigar store in New York, who actually had learned Sanskrit. So when I couldn't figure out a Sanskrit thing, a word, I took it up to them and I said, is this the right translation? And in the book, you know, they could, you know, it's the language of consciousness. So when a Western person translates it as an aspect of matter, I have a right to find